Our story started in March of 2020 as the coronavirus crept into America. Like so many others, I was drawn to the news and I watched cases accelerate in New York City. I also watched a parallel story unfold related to shortages in PPE. On March 22nd, I'd reached a tipping point. I felt a patriotic call to duty. I felt a humanitarian call to action. I just had no idea if we could help out. ThermoPore is a domestic manufacturer of a microporous plastic technology. It's a material that works in a number of different markets and a number of different applications, but most of the time it is embedded into somebody else's finished device, working at the end of a highlight marker or a children's coloring marker. The tip that actually comes into contact with paper is oftentimes made from this porous plastic material. Similarly, you might find it under the hood of your car in an automotive battery, or you might find it in a laboratory setting as a pipette filter. So it's a pretty diverse material that has and serves in a number of different applications. Our challenge in March, though, was to figure out if this material could work in a new application, specifically one for N95 respirators. Our early prototypes were simple shapes. They were half spheres or bowl shapes or cup shapes, patterned after most of the N95 manufacturers that we saw in the market at that time. What we learned in this early prototype development, though, was that we could pull and we could shape a number of geometries into our material, and more importantly, maintain the breathability through the film. Right, an obvious perk when you're trying to develop an N95 respirator. Through our dialogue with NIOSH, the regulatory body that oversees N95 respirators, we learned of a study that had been conducted in 2005. In this study, NIOSH went out and sampled and scanned the faces of 3,000 participants. They brought this information back, compiled it, and then reduced it down to 5 basic head forms that they described as small, medium, large, tall and narrow, and short and wide. NIOSH compiled this information because they knew how important fit was in ensuring safety to the wearer of an N95 respirator. The respirator has to fit and has to create a seal around the wearer's face. In the event that there is a gap or a breach of that seal, the wearer's safety and health becomes compromised because that unfiltered air might get into the inside region of the respirator. So, to NIOSH's credit, they compiled this information and made it available to respirator manufacturers because of the importance of adequate fit. This is where our story gets kind of interesting. We learned that we could shape our material, we could draw it, we could form it into these different shapes. And now NIOSH is just presenting us with this information that defines America's faces in 5 sizes. So we thought, instead of making a cup or a bowl-shaped respirator that has to deform to fit these faces, why don't we manufacture and produce a novel N95 that's already formed to fit, the form and fit N95. Here we are, the beginning of December. We have figured out the material science side of this. We figured out the regulatory side of this. We're turning our attention towards building the equipment that's going to make these in high volume, and then we need to figure out the sales side of this. The production line is going to be finished and ready to roll January 2021. So in less than a month, we'll be able to flip the switch and manufacture almost 1 million masks per month. Now, Beyond that, we need to figure out what our sales channel is going to look like, and if we really can find a reason to build multiple lines. So this manufacturing process is highly scalable. It would lend itself to making N95s available to the public as well as to the healthcare providers. We just need to mitigate our risk. We need orders, or we need to partner with corporate America, or with hospital organizations, or with governmental entities that can help us justify that investment to ramp this technology. So we've done everything to date in a self-funded effort, and we'll build our one line. But beyond that, we're going to need your help. We're going to need orders, or some kind of connection that's going to enable us to ramp this thing beyond where we're currently at. We're more than willing to do so, and I think we're supposed to do so. I just don't know how yet. So I'm going to leave that in your hands and let you provide me with feedback as to how we should best navigate the months ahead. Until then, look, thanks for listening. Stay safe out there, and take care.